I work at the University of Michigan credit union. Everybody probably on your table saw these little green things, and they're like, "Hey, wait a second, this is green, not yellow and blue." I also work at Eastern. We're the same folks. Sometimes I'm in Ypsilanti, and I brought you guys along. If somebody needs an extra one, I've got them right up here. Just some sticky books if you want to write a few things down. I brought some. I've been doing this type of work for over 30 years. So lots of experience. I do about 200 workshops a year for as little as Girl Scouts, 5 years old, all the way up to like senior citizens and everywhere in between. So I'm happy to be with you guys. We'll do a little bit of fun. We'll have a little bit of fun and do a little bit of learning today. One thing that I always find interesting, whether it's like a group of young adults, whether it's a little bit older folks, finances and money, not always the easiest thing to talk about, is it? Sometimes we sort of keep that to ourselves. So here's what I'd like you to do. I want you in groups of 2 or 3. I'm totally okay with that, 2 or 3. Up here on this table, I've got 4 stacks. We're only gonna take 5 minutes. It's sort of an energizer. It's got some statements about finances and money. And it's going to ask you, you can, in a group of 2 or 3, you read it. And you'll decide, oh yeah, that's me. That's me some of the time, or that's never me, as it relates to the statement right there. It'll just get you talking and opening up a little bit about money. So I want one person, choose your group, groups of 2 or 3, come on up, take one sheet. Take one sheet, 5 minutes. On your mark, get set, go. Right up here. One, so grab one. Grab one and check.
That one girl is.
So in your groups, just read the sentence and you just verbally say, that's me, that's not me, that's it. You can just read them out loud in the groups. You don't need to fill them out. You just read them out loud. In your groups. You don't need to fill anything else, just read them out loud.
Just okay, we just check the box.
Just talk about it.
Read this, and you guys can answer the same, different, you don't need to fill anything out, just talk. And we'll see if you guys are the same, or if you just, you might be here, you might be. Okay. Just talk, guys, you don't have to fill out anything.
I miss some days. I'm gonna send the part down.
So are you guys the same or different? What do you think? You're very different in some of them. Okay. And I got it, if you want to-
Oh, we gotta have sushi.
No. Don't worry about it. Are you guys the same or different? A little bit different.
Oh, When I go
Okay, guys, 60 seconds, and then I'm gonna bring you back up in front.
Because that's their little.
Yeah.
I almost go out.
For real, if I'm gonna job, by the end of this year, I think
I don't think I can do it. Right.
All right, friends, so I'm gonna have you go ahead and sort of focus your attention back up here. So, and I do not need these back, so you can hold on to them, but was that something that was interesting? You may not have ever talked about something like this with a friend or a fellow student. Sometimes we don't talk about money so much. We don't talk about money. Who at their tables, who had some answer very much? Oh, that's me, that's me. Who matched up? You guys back there, you guys are similar. Did I have anybody that's like, that's me and that's not me? Did I have anybody like, woo, well, we are different? And that's okay, totally okay. There's no right or wrong on this. This first question I always put up here, because I could have walked in here today, guys, and had like a book on personal finance. I'll bet you guys have a textbook, right? Yeah, guys are yeah, it's a great program. So I'm here to tell you, I've been doing this a long time. Financial decisions can be very stressful for people. Does anyone want to just volunteer maybe why do you feel that is? Why do you feel finances can be stressful? Yes.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure, why? I like that, to sort of keep up, right? Anybody else?
Social media.
Tell me more.
I feel like a lot of the people, like the celebrities, feel like, oh, you gotta have the designer stuff to be cool. But you
Yeah.
don't.
To sort of
You
keep it
gotta
up
be rich.
a little bit, yeah. There's some similarity in what y'all, yeah. Well, here's what I see. Here's what I see as it relates to finances. In terms of why finances and money can be stressful. Number one, it's not always black and white, is it? Is there emotions involved when we're thinking about spending our money?
Yeah.
A lot. I wonder if anyone has ever heard of this acronym, FOMO. I heard it. Fear of missing out. We don't like to miss out, okay? And sometimes that sort of gets in our way. Does anyone know what YOLO means? Heck yeah! I know I can't afford to take my kids to Disney right now, but I only live once. So kids, get in the car. Here we go. Not always the best financial decision, but that's hard. That's hard. Number two, financial decisions can be impactful for a long time. I'm here to tell you that if you take out a student loan or a mortgage or a car loan, that doesn't go away in 30 days. That'll probably stick with you anywhere from 15 up to 30 years. So if somebody, I've seen a lot of folks make money mistakes and they can't recover overnight. They'll take a car loan out for 7 or 8 years, or those kind of money decisions can stick with you for a long time. Scarcity, we all have to deal with that. There's only so much to go around. We only have so much income. So we've got to kind of wrestle with that and finally understand it. I know y'all are taking an economics class right now, but I probably do between, I don't know, 15 to 20 workshops every single month on campus at Michigan and Eastern. 90% of the students I work with, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, have never taken a personal finance class. And there's students at U of M or Eastern, never. They don't understand how credit card works. They don't understand what interest is, they don't, that type of thing. So that also plays a part, okay? Good stuff. So I would ask you to look at this slide right here. So if I were to ask you, are you financially healthy? Do you see the 4 areas that I look at? Spend, save, borrow, plan. This is a roadmap. I don't care if you're 16 or you're 66 years old. If you do these things right here, you will be what? You will be financially healthy. Do you have good spending behaviors? Spend less than you make, or spend less than your income, pay bills on time. Are you saving on a regular basis? When you do have to borrow, all of us are going to have to one time or another. Is manageable. Never borrow more than you can afford to pay. And finally, do you plan ahead? If you do these 8 things, you're really going to be off to a good start. So let's talk in a little bit more detail about this. Who knows what a budget or a spending plan is? Could you give me a definition? Well, how would you explain that?
You could like, I would say, money for like groceries, put some money aside,
Yep. Yeah, and is a budget we do at the beginning of the month or end of the month? Beginning. That's the thing. I would suggest you guys that, especially the adults I work with, they come in, Mark, I'm struggling. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'm deep in debt. I need help. Like, okay, so are you using a budget? 75 to 80% of the time, the answer is what?
No.
No idea. Don't know what I'm making. Don't know what my bills are. I'm living day to day. There's no plan. There's no plan. So all we really want to do for purposes of today is just understand a budget or a spending plan. The objective is to balance those two, right? Any income that we've got to work with, and I heard earlier, Mr. Peavy, we've got some students that are working, generating some income versus expenses. Done monthly. Do our months change? November to December, probably a little different. December to January is a little bit different. You got different, events in our life. Needs to be tangible. Does anyone know what that means? Needs to be tangible. A lot of times I'll ask somebody, so are you using a budget? Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, great, can I see it? Well, it's all where? It's all up here. I can't see that. Well, show me something. I don't care if it's notebook, spreadsheet, app, something. We've got to create something. Keeping it all up here, it's going to be tough. And then finally, just like what you and I talked about, it's a document that we look forward, not necessarily looking back. It requires you to plan ahead. So could you use your sticky notes, guys? Could you use your sticky notes and quickly take a couple minutes to replace these question marks? Miguel, age 17, makes 75 bucks a week. He's saving to buy a used car. He likes to go out to eat with his friends, and he contributes $30 a month towards a cell phone. Help him create a balanced budget. These 5 question marks should all be replaced with a dollar figure. They should all add up to 300. Let's see where you guys are going to spend this money. Go right ahead, use your sticky books. Spend this 300. You tell me where to go with this dollars. Here it is. Take a minute. I've got some extra on the front table. If anybody needs an extra one. So these numbers should all add up to 300. Oh, you got it. Don't go over the 300. I'll find those money. Let's take another 60 seconds, and then I'll see what y'all came up with. Guys, tell me if you were close or far away from what I did. All I'm trying to figure out is where I should spend my money. All right, so let's go ahead and bring your attention up here, guys. I'm just going to show you what I did, and then you tell me. I kind of like to show you who was fairly close to what I did, and maybe who had some differences. So the first thing that I always do when I start with a budget is I need to make sure, what do I have to work with? What do I have to work with? You know that's $300. The second thing I do is I always keep my word. My parents are counting on me for $30 cell phone. That's the first thing I pay. The second thing I do is I prioritize savings. 25 to 30% I try to save. That still leaves me $75 a month from the drink. It leaves me $45 to spend at the store, and another $50 to go to the movies or a concert or that type of thing. Who was close to me? Who was fair? Okay, so I'm not too far out, right? Who was very different? Who was okay? And, Mr. Beebe, okay. So all we're really trying to do here, I'm not worried if you're a couple dollars different from me. The concept is, you guys, remember, plan ahead. This should not be done at the end of the month. This should be done when? The beginning of the month. You think about where the dollars are going to go. That's what the purpose of this is. So we're going to shift gears a little bit. I want to do a little bit on credit. I know no one in this room has a credit card yet, except myself and Mr. Peavy, maybe Tiffany. Okay. But I'm here to tell you that within the next 3 or 4 years, especially for those seniors, establishing your credit history is going to be a big, big deal. In terms of why you need to establish credit, that's usually the answer, right? I might need to borrow money. I might need to get a house, a car, a student loan, a credit card, something like that. Do we use credit for anything else here in the United States? Credit history? Does anyone have a guess? What? Credit score is a sort of a component of credit history. But does anyone else, other than banks and credit unions, care about your credit?
Everybody.
Dealerships, if you want. Okay.
Housing agent.
Wow, talk to me. You're not borrowing money from the landlord, are you?
No, they care about your credit.
Ah, so you want to live in my apartment complex? I really want to make sure you're going to pay your rent on time. So you know what I'm going to pull? Your credit. You're not borrowing any money, but we're using your credit. It's another really important, especially for college students. Another one that you should be aware of, job applications. It's fairly common.
Why is that?
Yeah, you know, Mr. Peavy, it's one of those things, and again, I'm not an HR professional, but whenever you apply for a job at a company and something like that, they want to know as much as they can about you before that job offer is given. It's one more tool for me to use. I see your resume, but I'd also like to take a look at your credit report. You don't have to have A+ credit, but if you've got a lot of things, you never pay your bills on time, all those kind of things, you may be asked to explain it. Sometimes college students are really shocked at that. So how do banks and credit unions make money? money and charging interest. What type of loans do we make at the credit union? What do people borrow money for?
Houses,
Did I get cars?
houses.
House, car, businesses,
Property.
student loans, all sorts of things. The credit union has a whole bunch of different loans you can take. Are the interest rates, which essentially this is how expensive the loan, are they the same or different?
Different.
So let's do a little bit of an exercise. Most students start out with a credit card. The first way to establish credit is with a credit card. It's usually the easiest thing to get. Let's do this right here. I just need one volunteer. Just one to sort of help me with this one. Anyone want to give it a try? Okay. We've got 5 different types of loans here, okay? Here are the interest rates as of today for these. You're going to see how different they are. So right here, I have a car loan. This assumes you've got really, really good credit. Of these choices right here, what do you think the interest rate is today for a car loan?
Teachers, please excuse this interruption. Micaiah Taylor, please report to the main office. Micaiah Taylor, please report to the main office.
For the car, the interest rate,
Yeah, the interest rate. So how much it would cost you to borrow money? What do you think of these choices?
9.99.
And 2.5% for a car loan. A Capital One card. We've all heard of Capital One. We've seen them on commercials, Visa, MasterCard, that kind of thing. Does anyone want to guess what the interest rate is for a credit card that you can use anywhere in the store? How much? About 18%. 18%, and that's the average rate right now. How about a mortgage? One of these days, you guys are going to buy a house. What are the interest rates for a mortgage?
29.99.
4%. Not bad, not bad. We all love Kohl's. Who hasn't been to Kohl's a million times? You decide to get a Kohl's credit card, what do you think they're going to charge you in interest? 30%. Jesus. So you end up buying some clothes at Kohl's, you don't pay them off, it's going to be expensive. Student loans, about 7%. So you can see here how different they are, how different. So I'm going to have you guys do an exercise. Credit cards are usually the first introduction to credit that young people have. Almost always. There's pros and cons. I'm going to have you do this exercise here to sort of learn a little bit more. It helps young people build a credit history. Buy now, pay later. You can use that credit card today, you're going to get the bill at the end of the month. There's a convenience factor there. It can be used for emergencies if you don't have any cash. And then finally, some cards give you rewards and cash back and stuff. High interest rates. Did you see what the interest rate was on that Kohl's card? Woo! Easy to spend what you don't have. Late payments are very damaging, and it's easy to obtain multiple cards. I had a member that I was working with, a member of the credit union, right before Christmas. She called, she's having trouble. I need help. Can you talk to me? I pulled her credit report so I can understand what's going on. She had 21 open credit cards. 21 of them. 15 of the cards had a balance on them. Can you imagine getting 15 credit card bills every month? It was too much. Way too much. No reason to ever have that many. So here's what I'd like you to do. And Tiffany, would you mind, could you help me pass these out? 5 questions. Pretty simple. You can answer those based on the sample statement that we've got in the back. You can work as a team if you'd like. Thanks. You can actually, everyone can have it. Guys can go. See if you can, see what you can come up with. Jimmy, I brought it. You guys. I am happy to help if you need help. Just raise your hand. For the purposes of time, I'm just going to give you another minute or two, and I'm going to go through the answers. Number 2, the interest rate on this credit card. All right, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go through the answers with you. I'm going to go through the answers with you just so you can jot it down, you can refer back to it just to make sure. And I know we don't have a ton of time to look at this, but I'll quickly kind of tell you the answers. Number 1, if you look on page 1 of the statement, this person just made a $300 payment. The creditor went in and put $75 back on the balance. Look at that, for interest. 75 bucks in interest is charged on this. Number 2, the interest rate. If you actually go to page 2 of the statement, you'll see a number that says 14.99%. Number 3, this one is a tough one. If this consumer never uses the card again, never, but only makes the minimum payment, what year will they pay off this balance? If you look on page 1, right in the middle, 17 years, almost 2040. 17 years. Number 4, what are the consequences if you're a day late? Will you get a late fee? Up to what? 40 bucks, and they will increase your interest rate to 29.99%. It's right on page 1. Ouch, just to be a day late. And finally, if you decide to pay $250 a month, accelerate your payment, not just take the minimum. Will you save some money? Yeah, you'll probably be out of debt in about 2 years and save about $6,000 in interest if you make this higher payment. So that's a little bit, use the statement to sort of understand a little bit how credit cards work. Okay. So, does this look familiar? Yes. Probably a lot of schools still use these. Well, I'm here to tell you in the financial world, that is sort of the financial GPA that we use quite a bit. It's the credit scoring model. Where I want you guys to be is in that green area. I want you guys to be in that green area. So I want you to take a look at this chart really quick. Remember these numbers right here and help you with this question right here. Mark was 30 days late on his most recent credit card statement. Once that shows up as a late payment, what do you think will happen to my score? So I just need somebody to give me an A, B, C, or D. D, it won't drop. Oh, you're going C, pretty severe.
Okay.
Not so you're being a little nicer to me, right?
Oh, no,
One late payment is going to drop you all the way into the red or the orange. Just one. And it'll probably take you close to a year to get back to the green. One late payment. So remember we talked about budgeting? We're like, gosh, I better make sure I plan ahead. This is what's going to happen. Because in a couple years, a lot of you will want to buy a car. If you have a credit score of 640, it's like middle of the road, guys. It's like a C, C minus. You're going to borrow $20,000 for a car. The 640, you'll probably be charged an interest rate of 12–13%. Monthly payment of $445, and you will end up repaying almost $27,000 to buy a $20,000 car. If you've got a better credit score, I can give you a much better deal. I can give you an interest rate of about 3%. Your monthly payment is $100 less, and you'll save about $5,000 overall on this car. What's the only variable here? Your score.
Score.
One late payment could really, really cost you. Any questions on this example? Any questions on this example? All right. So raise your hand if you're a saver. Okay. All right. So that means raise your hands if you're a spender. Okay. That's so. And I'm totally good with that. I'm totally good with that. With the exception of this statement right here. What do we take care of first? Right here. Always have to ask ourselves this question, guys. I see it all the time. I get people that get paid on a Friday. They go out on Saturday and Sunday and they spend half their paycheck, and the car payment is due on that following Tuesday or Wednesday, and they never end up paying. Needs versus wants just don't sync up. So we got to make sure we ask ourselves. For most students, I'll use you guys as an example. What do you feel? What do you usually spend more on each month than you planned on? On these.
A, gasoline. Oh, your A and B. B, gasoline.
All good. This usually wins. This you and everyone's like, yeah, this usually wins. I'm with you, and Mark is not here to tell you to never buy any more food or drink or Hungry Howie's. I'm all about that stuff. Usually what we call this in the financial counseling world is be careful of the latte factory, which means sometimes for small stuff, oh, come on. It's just $5 a day. I know, but when we multiply it by 20 or 25, it's over $1,000 a year just on your morning coffee. Most of us can't afford that. So sometimes the small stuff adds up, right? The small stuff adds up. So whenever I teach savings, I always kind of tell everybody, remember, don't put it all in one bucket, guys. There should be 3 buckets. A safety net. This is money that we want for our retirement, and this is stuff like saving for a car. This is stuff like saving for vacation. These are different. So the last slide I wanted to share with you is a little bit about what will happen if you use time. Okay, if you use time and you start saving early. Here's the chart. 25, 35, and 45. These individuals all start saving. Look what happens when we use time. If you're 45 years old and you start saving $200 a month, it gives you 20 years, your money will double. Start at 45, go to 65, your money will double. If you start at age 35, same thing, $200 a month, your money will triple. If you start at the age of 25, your money, for every dollar you put in, it's now worth $5. You will have over $500,000 if you start early. What's the one thing I can never get back for you guys? Every single month that you tell me I'm not doing any savings, that month is bye-bye. I cannot get that back. Which color do you guys want to be? Blue, green, or orange? Blue. There you go. And you guys, nobody here is even at 25 now. Remember this slide. Okay? Remember this slide. All right, so I think we've got a few minutes just for any feedback or questions. Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
I know we've got just a couple minutes. Okay, so
Shh, listen up.
ask it out loud, yeah? Okay, it's just, I would say, and I'm speaking to you from a lending standpoint, it's going to be very hard for me as a lender if you eventually come to me at 27 or 28 and say, hey, Mark, I need a car. I need a car loan, and you've never had any credit experience, I'm probably not going to be able to approve you. That's why getting a credit card for a young person is the easiest way. You need to use it just for one pizza a month, build it up a little bit, but I'm going to have a hard time getting you a loan if you have no history. You don't have to get a credit card, but it really helps for larger loans.
Any other questions?
Please, you guys.
If you're in Overbound Math and Science, stay here for just a few more seconds. We got one thing to tell you. Only if you're in Overbound Math and Science.